Blue Adept, Chapter 1, page 10. The terrain and reputation as fighters made the landscape become as peaceful as it seemed, but there was no sense setting up the Blue Adept as a lure for trouble. Clip knew the way. The unicorn herd grazed wherever the herd stallion decreed, moving from pasture to pasture within broad territorial limits. Other herds grazed other territories. None of them intruded on these local dimensions. Human beings might think of this region as the Blue Adept, but animals thought of it as the region of this particular herd. Werewolves and goblins and other creatures also occupied their niches, each species believing itself to be the dominant force. Style made it a point to get along as well as he could with all creatures. Such detenente was much more important here in the frame of phase than it was in any non-magical frame, and he generally respected these other creatures. The werewolves, for example, had helped him to discover his own place here, and the entire local pack was oath friends with Nese. They galloped west across the terrain, where Style had first encountered Nese. It was a spot of special significance for them both. He reached around her neck to give her an invisible hug, and she responded by twitching ear back and rippling her skin under his hands as though shaking off a fly. Secret communication, inexpressibly precious. To the south was the great purple mountain range, to the north the white mountain range. There was surely a great deal more to phase than this broad valley, but Style had not yet had occasion to see it. Once he had dealt with his enemy and secured his position, he intended to do some wider explorations. Who could guess what wonders might lie beyond these horizons? They moved west for 2 hours, covering 20 miles. This frame used the archaic, magic-ridden units of measurement, and Style was still schooling himself in them. 20 miles was roughly 32 kilometers in his more familiar terms. Style could have covered a similar distance in similar time himself, for he was among other things a runner of marathons. But for him it would have meant a great deal of effort, depleting his resources for days. For these animals, it was merely pleasant, light exercise.